Welcome to Disrupted Science, the occasional conversation between the authors of the upcoming book, How the Internet Disrupted Science, now available for pre-order. Please do. I'm Joy Moore here with my co-author Ken Anderson, and today is Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. Last day of the year. Hey, Ken,
Hey, Joy.
how's it going?
It's going. It's been quite a year, hasn't it?
It has.
So we have
There's,
32. This will be our 32nd episode. Can you believe it?
no, that's a lot.
It is a
But not
lot. It just kind of happened.
Well, but the other thing is we say in the intro, it's an occasional conversation. It's basically a every Wednesday conversation,
It has become that. Maybe we need to revisit that. Oh, I
which
sense
is
an edit coming.
which is fine. But maybe we could have more frequent conversations in the new year if
We
people want them.
we
We got a
could. I
lot to
mean, there's a
talk
lot
about.
happening, and there are times like I think yesterday we got on the phone, just kind of unscheduled in an unscheduled manner, and I was like, "Dang, I wish we were recording this," because it
Hmm.
was it was like free flowing everything. It was good, but yeah, so you never know. We may just have to come up with a new motif. Just, the eavesdropping on Kent and Joy.
I'm sure inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we've got some updates on the book front. We've had a busy Christmas season.
Yes, yes. And speaking of going back and changing things a little, we got the copy edited version from the publisher, and
Mhm.
you and I both went through it. And now we're on, and we returned that, in in rapid order. And now we're on going to be on to page proofs at some point in the near future.
Mm.
So excited to see the layout of it. So
Yeah, and then we can do the index.
yeah, and then we had an interview with Darrell Gunter on WSOU 98.5 FM, Seton Hall University.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that was so cool of Darrell to invite us to talk with him. And it was a good conversation. It was short. We didn't spend too much time blah blah blahing about things. And he had some really good questions, and we were so grateful to have the opportunity to chat with him. He's a guy that we've known for a long time, and we're we'd love to catch up again. We didn't get too much into the leadership aspects of what we're talking about. So,
Yeah.
Darrell, if
Plus,
you want us
plus,
back,
yeah. If you want us back, we're here. Or anybody else, you want to talk to us, let us know. But also, I've known Darrell for a long time, and I've known he has a really nice voice, but sometimes that doesn't carry over to media.
hmm
I've had people I've known who have really nice voices, and then you record them, and you're like, ooh, no, not so much. But his carries over beautifully. He has a great radio voice. So
Oh yeah.
lucky guy.
Yeah, I met him back in the day when he was I think there was a pretty sure it was a AAP PSP meeting that
Mm.
we were the last day and he was the chair of a session and there was a snowstorm and we all got stuck there.
Oh
I don't know
no.
if
Oh,
you were
that's
at
a
that
great
one.
bonding experience. Oh yeah, yeah.
So we ended up having to talk
What city
longer
was
than
it in?
DC. So
Oh yeah, I've had so
hopeless.
many things
Yeah.
happen with BWI and the
Yeah.
DC airports where I've had like long hours in bars at the airport, or one time I had to drive back with three other people from NEJM well after
Yeah.
I had been there. But we
It's
had to
always
drive home
better.
because there was just no flight.
It's
Everything was
always better to drive from DC to Boston if you're from Boston and you know how to drive. The
yeah.
other way around, don't do it.
No, New Jersey
Wait for the
Turnpike.
plane.
Ugh. All right. So you've got
Okay.
something else in mind here.
Yeah, so before we get to the main topic, because it is New Year's Eve,
So
I
true.
thought it would be fun to go through. I always like to look at like what are the superlatives coming from magazines and other places at the end of the year. Like what's in, what's out, what's number
What's
one
hot
and
and all
what's
that,
hot,
yeah.
what's not.
Right.
So I did a little Googling around, and so I've selected a few to get your take on.
Oh
Okay?
boy. Oh boy. No
Yeah.
pressure.
All right. So the first one is Rolling Stone Song of the Year 2025
Hmm.
is Abracadabra by Lady Gaga.
Solid choice.
And according to her interview with Rolling Stone, the background is I wanted to traverse old ground while breaking new ground, which I think is hard to do.
Okay.
Are you in agreement with
I
this?
am generally in agreement. I don't know about song of the year, but it was a really good song. And her
Mm-hmm.
performance of it, especially her live performance on Saturday Night Live, was
Yeah.
amazing. And she's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing artist and performer and singer. So anything Lady Gaga has, it has to, it's glorious until proven otherwise. And this was definitely one of her stronger songs.
Yeah.
But I also like the fact that she does what, you know, I keep returning to the fact that music that resonates seems to have a particular sonic range and a certain amount of dynamics and a mix to it. And
Mm-hmm.
she respects that. Like she
She
brings,
does.
she
Yeah.
she knows how to really, get a good tempo and get a good bass line and bring things up and down and build intensity and pull back and build drama and all of that. And I think that's all a good sign of good music. And I think that's why she's able to. I think that's kind of maybe what she's referring to, where she's talking about, traversing old ground, like known things that work in music production and
Mm-hmm.
composition and arrangement and mixing and all of that, and then bringing something new out of those elements. So I respect that, and I think that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, she does that in every genre of music that she explores. It's like a collage. She's she's definitely taking inspiration from people who came before her and
Hmm.
then putting a new spin on it and introducing it to new people.
Well, like
So,
her and Bradley Cooper in *The Star Is Born*, right?
hmm.
Very
Yeah.
different than a Christopherson Streisand *Star Is Born*, and a new classic song came out of it, right?
Hmm.
And I loved the fact that people were speculating that she and Bradley Cooper had this big romantic thing, and at the end of the who knows if they did or didn't, but at the end of the day, she's like, well, that's called acting, so she
Exactly.
just played coy with it. It's like, maybe not, but
Yeah.
maybe we're
It's
just
called.
acting. So
Well, that inspired me to re-listen to the old classic, the Steve Miller
mm,
Band, Abracadabra, that we all grew up with, or at least I did, riding
hmm,
around on my bicycle, listening to the radio, things like that. And then
yeah,
unfortunately, I looked at on YouTube and I saw the mu music video, and it is so creepy.
it is so
It
bizarre.
is so anyway, thank you, Lady Gaga. Congratulations. Okay,
Thanks
on
for
to the next
updating
one.
it and making it not so creepy.
On to the next one. So the next superlative is Cosmopolitan Magazine's
Hmm.
fragrance trends for 2026.
Hmm.
What is 2026 going to smell like? Apparently, it's going to be sweet,
Aw.
juicy, and woody. Whoa. Again, and I quote from the magazine, the biggest 2026 perfume trends will be a full reinvention, according to the three fragrance experts they spoke with. We'll see ideas and notes that refuse to disappear, that keep shifting shape, that our noses keep returning to, even when we think we've moved on.
Yeah, I have nothing to say on this that is
Okay.
appropriate. But sweet, juicy, and woody. I, you know, I there's so many jokes I want to make about those three words,
Well, that's why I put it in there. So
so I could.
everyone can do their own.
Yeah, insert your jokes here. about sequels to Magic Mike or what what you're.
Anyway, so that's what's happening
Anyways,
to us in fragrance. Moving on.
moving on. Think quickly, please.
Yes, the Merriam-Webster's word of the year for 2025
Hmm.
is not surprising, slop.
Ah, that's a good choice.
Merriam-Webster's human editors have chosen slop as the 2025 word of the year. We define slop as digital content of low quality that is produced usually in quantity by means of artificial intelligence. End quotes.
Hmm.
All that stuff dumped on our screens captured in just four letters. The English language came through again.
Yes, it
So,
did.
so slop was already a word, but now it has new meaning.
It does, and it's been a very. I think it's opened a lot of eyes to what LLMs are producing because it has a few different connotations, right? So it's not anything that you really want to consume. It can be messy and it can
Yeah.
spread uncomfortably, right? And you can
Mm-hmm.
keep kind of picking it up unexpectedly. It's like we have granite counters, and it's like if somebody spills something, it's like a little bit later, or you have a broken glass on a carpet or something. It's like there's just, you worry about some leftovers there. You keep encountering them. So it's a really great word, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of gets back to the fact that,
And
again,
anybody can,
humans figure this out. Right?
yeah, and anybody can understand
Hmm.
what the word slop means.
Right.
You know, it's it's
It's a great onomatopoeia, actually.
oh.
Kind of is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like slap adjacent, slop. You know, well, because it's what it sounds like when it hits. Usually,
It
it's like
is. It's like
splat.
splat.
Another
Right.
onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It's
I
it's
think that's a
something that
great
you
choice.
it just showed up where you didn't want it to, and then you got to clean it up. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Great choice. Full
All right.
full endorsement of that choice.
Okay. And so the final one is the Pantone color of the
Mm,
year for
mm,
2026, which they always announce
hmm.
around this time. And I can't remember what last year's was. I should have looked it up, but there've always been like there was a yellow and there's always something
Like
that
a
like kind of
marigold or
pops.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this year's color is Cloud Dancer,
Hmm.
which
Not
is
fancy.
white. It's and they
A very
they've
particular shade, apparently.
well, yes, because it's number 11-4201. So,
Yes.
yeah, because it's Pantone
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How many?
trademark.
So,
But yeah.
question for you, idle question for you. How many
Mhm.
Pantone colors do you think you memorized over the years?
Oh,
Back
it's
when we
been
used to
it's
have
been a
to
long
specify
time,
them.
but yeah, no. For certain journals logos, I
Mm-hmm.
knew a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and going to the printer and making sure that we had the right one.
And laying down the Pantone
And
chip and just
yeah,
being
and
like,
it's like,
yeah,
nope, nope.
no. I'm with you.
So anyway, the Pantone chip to lay down for 2026 is apparently a shade of white that's called Cloud Dancer, and it embodies clarity, openness, and the quiet power of possibility, the
Hmm.
space to create. It's a color that feels like a breath, a pause, a moment to begin again.
You hit me where I live. It's awesome. It's a blank slate, in other words, right? So they're trying to wipe away 2025. They're like, that year
They're
sucked.
like they're like get rid of the slop. Just
Yeah.
let it go.
Wipe it
Let's start
clean.
with white. Yeah. And then I have to add that as I was looking more about Cloud Dancer
Mm.
already, there's I don't remember which website it was, but there's the white dog breeds of the year
Yes, the Cloud Dancer breeds.
that are Cloud Dancer compliant.
And I own
And you
my
have
own
one.
one. We do a Great Pyrenees, and
Yeah.
she is hardly someone who feels like a breath, a pause, a moment to begin again. Most of the time, she feels like a like a nut, like a crazy little person with a little girl with a bunch of attitude. So I
So
love it,
she's
but
so she's more juicy and sloppy than a breath of fresh
she,
air.
yeah, you definitely get some drool, so you get some slop, and yeah, she's got clear attitude. So I don't know.
Mm,
I think that's a superficial match at best,
yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
anyway,
no, it's a great pick.
thank you for indulging me in the superlatives. So let's get on to the the heart of the conversation.
All right, here we go. We're going to talk about playing to the consumer. All right, so we're going to talk this week about playing to the consumer, and this arose as a topic from a lot of disparate sources that kind of came together at once. And one of the first ones was a person we interviewed earlier this year, Iris Van Roy, who posted on Blue Sky about something that she basically said people who have never had their dominant culture challenged don't know what hits them the moment someone does. They live in the illusion of culturalness. Culturalness? That's a hard one. And then boom. And I think that explains some of the experiences you and I have had watching scientific and scholarly publishing change
Hmm.
because our initial enthusiasm about the internet was a kind of presumed that the culture of scientific and scholarly publishing would not be radically transformed, that it was simply a better distribution, better interaction, better product development, better customer connection technology set that we could use to create interesting new things. And
Hmm.
instead, it has been totally upended by a bunch of other things that we'll talk about. And some of those
And I
things,
think
oh, go ahead.
and Iris is coming from the point of view of an academic, a
Hmm.
professor,
Hmm.
a scholar who is very well versed in cognitive science and machine learning technology. And they have found that their academic culture has been intersected by things that they didn't expect. And I think that's probably part of where she's coming from.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Um,
Agree.
and then boom, right? You think you're living in your little bubble and you can
Hmm.
control things, and then all of a sudden something else comes in to interrupt it.
Right. And one of the things we talked about with them was this kind of preening for technology dollars that academic institutions have started to do,
Hmm.
and basically using, riding the AI bubble in order to gain prestige or revenues or research dollars or whatever, what have you, and not letting academics actually interrogate the technology, and instead asking them to just ride along. And so I think that was part of that.
Yeah. So the all the normal ways of going about their work and using the tools that they see fit to teach their students have been interrupted. So the rules are changing above, below, and across
Right.
them.
Right. And so one of the things you and I talked a little bit about, because we're both baseball fans and we're both kind of, into this, we don't mind using sports analogies. So
They're always helpful.
they can be useful, yeah. So we were talking a little bit about rules and norms and officiating, right? Which are three aspects of what scientific publishers have used to establish a culture. And we talked to, and I've been watching baseball the past couple of years since they made some rules changes, but they didn't really change the game. They just changed some rules to make the game more appealing to the people who like to watch it, right?
Yeah.
And so they sped up the game. They put a pitch clock on. So
Hmm.
pitchers have to pitch more quickly. And initially, the pitchers were kind of complaining about arm fatigue, but everybody adjusted. Pitchers don't pitch full games as often. They have more, bullpen time. Actually, kind of maybe helps some other pitchers develop, changes the roster a little, but it's fine. You can challenge and review calls occasionally in special circumstances. there are new rules for extra innings. So a runner starts on second base at the top of the 10th. And so a single could end the game. So again, if it goes into extra innings, it's less likely to turn into an 18 inning slog. It's more likely to
Hmm.
resolve in an exciting play at the plate with a little dink single or something like that. And I happen to know people who work at MLB, and they say park attendance is up, television
Hmm.
ratings are up, merch sales are up, everything's up. All these rules changes have just helped baseball become mainstream again. And I know for a fact, and I don't know if your experience is the same, but I'll tune in a game because I know it's going to be 2.5 hours at best,
Hmm.
and it's like this is fun. This is a fun game to watch again.
Yeah. No, I saw that a couple times. Not I went to a major league game this summer, but also going to the college game. They have the clock and they've got like things that are moving things along. And
Yep,
it's like, great. This is going to be an hour and a half of my life to be outside and see this.
right. And the officiating, it's interesting because they will have, certain things can be challenged, balls and strikes can't be.
Hmm.
And they still let a human call balls and strikes, even though they
Yes.
have the technology that could officiate that, right?
Hmm.
Maybe they'll go there. I don't know. Tennis kind of did, but but I kind of like there you're not trying to fool anybody, but a pitcher who can fool an umpire is still an important part of the baseball experience to me.
Yeah.
If you can pitch well enough to fool both the batter and the umpire,
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
pitch. And then basketball, we talked about that. How it's
Hmm.
changed with Steph Curry changed so much by becoming this 3-point shooting assassin, and
Hmm.
now you have his crossover dribbling. I can hear my older members of the family. That's palming, that's traveling. It's like no, it's Euro step, and now crossover dribbling is such a part of the game that they kind of let players turn the ball over a little bit more with their hands as they dribble.
Hmm.
And now you've seen it progress. So you have, these bigs who can shoot 3-pointers and
Yeah.
handle the ball. And they are coming on, they're changing the game a lot. But it's still basketball. It's just
Yeah.
the players have changed a little, but they still have to make 2 and 3 pointers. They still get fouled. They still have the same court dimensions, the same basket height. But so it's changed, but it's not hasn't nothing's been violated as far as the integrity of the game.
No, it hasn't, and it's made the games more fun to watch, but it's also provided, fodder to the grumps, to talk about like, wow, why are they going to do this and why are they going to do that? And but that's also part of the culture, right?
Right,
Is that
right.
and I'm sure if you wind back the time machine to the beginning of baseball and the beginning of basketball. And if we went back and played by those rules, I don't think anybody would want to watch.
No,
So,
absolutely not. But yeah, sports talk radio is definitely healthier because of all these changes.
yeah, yeah.
And we can talk about concussion protocols and all that stuff in football, but I think the rules changes have been largely to make the game more appealing and to
Hmm.
without ruining the integrity of it. And it's interesting to talk about games having integrity
Hmm.
and norms and boundaries, and we tend to not talk about scientific publishing having those same things. And so I think Skylar Hughes gave a talk that kind of resonated about this, and how
So
we
talk a little bit more about Skylar for those who aren't familiar with her.
Yeah, so I mentioned her in her talk in a post about iChive and Rachel So, and
Yeah.
that entire fraud cake, which cartoon back there, by the way. So I now
Oh,
feature
oh,
it.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So thanks, Max. But anyhow, but she gave a talk at TEDx Duke. I think she's at
Hmm.
Duke, and she talked about how we learn to tolerate lies, and it's the boy who cried wolf story, And it's fundamental in a really important way. And I really love the fact that she just returned to some fundamental things in life, which is if you start to tolerate lies, as an individual, you suffer for that. But if you start to tolerate lies as a community, you can be totally upended. And
Mm.
and she talks about how, the speed and remorselessness of technology amplification systems have made it so that everybody's kind of become worn down about adhering to the truth and become much more susceptible to being lied to and just kind of have come up with kind of a universal shrug about it. And
Hmm.
I think that happened to us in a lot of ways about producer pays publishing, where
Hmm.
early on it was like, this is clearly a conflict of interest. You can't have an editor being paid by an author to publish a paper. It's an
Hmm.
advertising move to pay to place content. It's like not great, you know.
Yeah.
But then but people started to say, well, it's just another business model. It's equivalent, and it kind of wore everybody down. And then there was a point where it seemed to switch over, and everybody said, actually, there's a lot of money to be made here, and it seems more Silicon Valley like. We're just going to put out as much content as possible. The computers will sort it out later.
Yeah, and so in that case, the rules just kind of morphed
Hmm.
um over time.
Right.
And I think this goes back to what Skylar was talking about. It's like, well, it's okay if some people pay to publish and other people pay to read. And
Hmm.
then it was a snowball that gained momentum with a lot of propaganda behind it, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, like, this is the new rule that we're playing by,
Right.
and it's just
It's a
accepted.
complete frame shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think by folk and so as a culture, and getting back to Iris's point, and also as a set of norms, we've become focused on producers.
Hmm.
And I think what that set us up to accept is that we can say, oh, if a computer produces content, that's okay too. And I think that's where we get into the OA AI bubble again,
Hmm.
where it's both are producer focused content generation models, and
Hmm.
both seem to be something that we should really think about. So,
Right, because we've already established that there's a thriving economy for uh, what Emily Bender and Alex Hanna call paper-shaped objects. Like
right,
there's a trade in these paper-shaped objects,
right,
and people will pay to have them published, and people make money on them being published in different indirect ways. And so, therefore, we've already set the stage for, well, if computers can create more of these paper-shaped objects, then
mm-hmm,
there is more trade in them.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And
right.
and 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 so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that is just getting out of control.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that, one of the norms that you and I both assumed when we saw the digital revolution was that it would be this is a really exciting way to focus on the consumer again and
Hmm.
to really build things for the consumer, and that's what we spent our time and
Yeah,
energy
personal
doing.
choice is
Yeah,
sort out the nonsense that you don't need to go look through the stacks in the library. You can get only what you need on
right.
your personal desktop, thanks to us.
Right, right. Or we can give it to you in ways that help you time slice more, or
Hmm.
give it to you in settings so that you are more efficient. Like you can listen to it at the gym. I remember one of the early product
Hmm.
development things that we had at New England Journal of Medicine was the idea was that people wanted smaller bites of content, right? It was
Uh-huh.
remember when that was the hottest thing, right? We got to make small.
Right.
It's got to be on your
It's
what were
bits
those
and
little devices? Palm Pilots.
on the
Got to be
Palm
on your
Pilot.
Palm Pilot. It's got to be
Oh.
snackable content, all that kind of stuff. And we did a test where we had readers read entire review articles and posted those. Those went over huge because what we found is that people generally, and it's what podcasting now has reinforced, they generally have commutes or exercise routines or walking
Hmm.
routines or whatever, where they want an hour or two of content that they can listen to.
Hmm.
And we didn't know that until we tested it and focused on the consumer. And so I think one of the concerns that with the producer focused era that we hopefully are going to exit at some point, and return to a consumer focused era would be is what are the missed opportunities here, right? What do the consumers really want?
Yeah, I think we've been focused on, and as we've reflected and researched putting together the book, is going back over the last 25 years, looking at the different decisions that we made as product development people, technologists, and scientific publishers of thinking that we were serving our consumers. We're on a track to better serve our consumers. And and it's not. And so the beginning of this year, really with the coming together, the OA boom, the support of OA by our current government,
Hmm.
and the support of AI by our current government, and how the different publishers have taken that together, has really kind of blown that up in a way that is very alarming and has nothing to do with the consumers of the content.
Right. And it was interesting. We also came across this week a proposal in Nature from Jennifer Byrne, who's an Australian cancer researcher, I think.
Hmm.
And she mentions that journals journals have kind of she's on the same page essentially. She said organizations journals need to certify that they are customer focused, and her proposition is that they should certify as ISO 9001 compliant
Hmm.
because that if you're compliant to that ISO standard, you must demonstrate operations that are customer focused, committed to continual improvement, and underpinned by systematic management approaches and evidence-based decision making. And she goes on, journals and publishers are currently incentivized to meet authors' expectations, but ISO 9001 compliance means also prioritizing the needs of readers. And I think that's,
It's
yeah.
it's basic consumer protection, consumer
Well,
reports for, it's the outside in. It's looking at um who is supposed to be benefiting from this information and who is potentially being harmed by it.
right,
And the producers have no real stake in the game.
right, right. Yeah. I mean, once they achieve a publication event, they're done.
Right.
That's all they wanted. And once an AI system gets gobbles up your content, then see you later,
Hmm.
Sally. We're gonna take it from here and do whatever we want with your content, and we'll modify it as we see fit.
Right. And there's always going to be there always has been, and there is a lot more now, and there will probably be a lot more in the future of papers that have been published that are not good, that need to be argued with or
Hmm.
corrected or retracted.
Hmm.
And so that's always been kind of a spoilage part of publishing, is that it's better to, err on the side of, getting more out there than not publishing something that somebody could use. But now it's just gotten completely out of control.
Yeah.
So that's another set of math that we've been looking at.
Yeah, yeah. But even attempts to look like you're consumer focused, like we've been talking about open evidence lately and kind of
Hmm.
picking at them, because big brands draw big attention. And so, sorry, any jam and jamma, but when you go trotting around with a new AI, we're gonna take a hard look. And
Yeah, you
what
put your brand on it. We're gonna we're gonna care, and
yeah.
we're gonna look at it carefully.
Well, and if
Um,
it's easy to find problems, that's even more concerning. And I've I wrote in my posts, and you know this because you were texting me at the same time. I'm watching a hockey game, and it's like, oh, there's another problem. And it's like, did you
Yeah.
even test this? But this, the argument was that open evidence would be better because it was constrained to the content of these top journals, right?
Right. Which it A isn't,
Which it isn't.
B, and it's not better.
No, it's actually worse in new ways, right? So one of the new
Right.
ways is if you put into it IQ and fluoride, it only has one article to chew on, and which is from JAMA Pediatrics, and which is a terrible article, trash references, shouldn't be in there, full of eugenics, dog whistles,
Hmm.
and people not beyond us and before us have urged it to be retracted, and but that's all it has. But you put the same prompt into, what was it, Evidence MD, which is a broader one,
Hmm.
or if you were to do it into Up to Date or, Dynamed or something like that, you get
Or
a
just
totally
Google.
different, or just Google, you get a totally different and a much better, more nuanced, more evidence-based answer than you do out of open evidence
Hmm.
because you know, they didn't test the system in the with skeptics or with, as far as I can tell. And so, they weren't customer focused. They made a positioning move that felt customer focused, but they didn't
Hmm.
do the hard work of actually testing it with customers or with people who would be able to tease out problems pretty quickly. Um,
Right. And it's the same as, public free versions of Chat GPT that have been put
mhm,
out there. It's let's put it out there and see what sticks, capture users, learn from their inputs,
mhm.
um, and see what sticks.
Yeah,
And
it's an
what
extraction move.
it's an extraction move, and it's not about providing the right answer. It's about trying to get more people into their system.
Right. It's not
So
for consumers, it's from consumers.
exactly.
Yeah.
The consumers of open evidence, we don't really know who they are. We haven't spent a lot of time looking to see who's actually using it. Hopefully nobody. Please, if you are, stop.
Yeah.
Um, is it
I
good for
can't I
them?
cannot I cannot
I can't
imagine a use case.
I
That
can't
is
imagine a doctor who is really looking for a credible answer is gonna not go to up to date Dynamed or, whatever else his or her collection of journals, who's gonna go for this. So,
right.
um,
And then can we talk about the ultimate producer
who's
centered
the
model, our friend Rachel?
Rachel, Rachel, Rachel. I thought we were on break.
Oh, they should, if they'd called it Ross, that'd be a whole different thing.
I know. Well, we should be the Ross to this Rachel. You're the Ross. All right.
I'm the Ross.
You
Well,
spent so much time with Rachel. Tell us about it, Kent.
yes, yes. So Rachel So is a fake person, fake, I don't know, avatar or whatever of this. So they called it Project Rachel in an archive preprint, and they were trying to create a I don't know what they called it, an AI scientist. But so Rachel So is going to write papers, quote unquote. I mean, all these words are just not the correct words to use, right?
No, it's well that's that it's the
That's the
anthropomorphic.
deceit.
Yeah, that's the deceit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you can be nice and call it anthropomorphic, but it's just deceptive. They're trying to fool people. And, then they actually did. They actually fooled a PeerJ editor. They actually fooled a student. So PeerJ editor invited Rachel So to peer review a paper,
Oh, no
and a
way.
student cited one of her papers. And then, get this. So they've done all this deception work. They've created a Google Scholar page for her. They've created fake papers for her.
Did she
They've
have an
created
orchid ID?
I don't know. I'd have to check on
I
that,
bet
but
she does.
I bet she does. Oh, Joy, why do you ask these questions that make me look? Um, but anyhow, well, for another time. But so they do all of this stuff. They show that they've deceived people. And then they
Hmm.
write, but we decided not to tell them because it would break the validity of our study.
Is this a some kind of RCT that they're doing in
I don't even think they
the
know what they're doing, but
scientific literature?
they're trying to prove that if you lie to people, you can fool them, which gets us back to Schuyler Hughes's thing, which is yes, we know that lies can fool people.
Yeah.
That's why we as a culture disapprove of them strongly. That's why we have a tale like The Boy Who Cried Wolf that warns people that if you tell lies, you can cause a huge loss to the entire village because when you need to be believed, no one's going to believe you.
Right.
And so I think these researchers, I think that, there's one in Manchester, there's one in Sweden, I think, and there's another at University of Toronto. I mean, I just don't know if I'd believe anything they're doing from here on out. I think but anyhow, it's the ultimate producer approach, right? It's like
Yeah.
we're using production systems to produce papers to be consumed by other production systems to fool human users, and we don't care.
Right. And is it to
We're
I,
all about
I,
production. We're seeing what we can produce.
yeah,
And
numbers go
it's
up.
ridiculously, yeah, it's ridiculous. So,
Well, my liberal arts um brain immediately went to the origin of them choosing the name Rachel.
so you're
Um,
much deeper than I. I thought it was from Friends, but
initially thought it was Friends, but I was like, wait a second.
mm,
So in the Bible, the Rachel character was very important in the book of Genesis,
mhm,
and was one of the major matriarchs that helped, you know, grow the population.
mhm,
But she struggled with infertility,
mhm,
and she enlisted the service of a handmaid to help her husband, Jacob, repopulate. And then from there, God rewarded her with the ability to have her own children. So
mm,
this was like it's a surrogate sacrifice for the better of future humanity fable.
mhm,
And so I was like, that's who Rachel was. And then, but taken at the same time, the recent White House executive order about the Genesis mission is what
mhm,
is focused on AI. And so that's the Genesis mission will build an integrated AI platform to harness federal scientific data sets, the world's largest collection of such data sets developed over decades of federal investments, to train scientific foundation models and create AI agents to test new hypotheses, automate research workflows, and accelerate scientific breakthroughs.
mhm.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just starting my own conspiracy, but sounds like positioning AI agents as surrogates under this kind of biblical reference
So they're the
framework that
handmaidens
these the
to Rachel.
handmaidens to further humanity for the rest
Well,
of
it ties. I mean, it's it's a great point actually because it ties into this whole Adam Becker kind of vision of how AI is going to help humanity slip the knots of
yeah.
of mortality and populate the universe and with billions and trillions of humans over thousands of years. And even if we have to burn the earth to a cinder to do it, we'll
Hmm.
still be gone, because future generations are more important than, the 5-year-old who was hungry this morning. But, it's there is definitely a God complex that has developed in Silicon Valley and around AI. I mean, was it the Israeli army called their AI something, I forget, projects, it was a religious term,
Mm.
and you
Yeah.
keep
Well,
having
it's either Tolkien,
right.
Star Wars, or the Bible. I
Yeah.
think like
Yeah, those are
that's
their three
pretty much
touchstone books. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, we've got the new security system. Was it a security system or surveillance system called Sauron? I mean, someone actually
Yes.
called it Sauron. Oh
Come
my
on, guys. Seriously, get
Palantir was bad
creative.
enough.
Make up a new word. Come on.
Well, well, stop. It's like stop going. You could have called it, Pippin, and made it
Right.
nice. You could pick the heroes instead of the villains. I mean, they keep picking the villains, and not
Where's
that
all the
Rachel was a villain, but
where are all the
she was.
Shakespeare
I
heroes,
know.
and
Yeah, I know.
villains? I mean, Mercutio. Throw one of them in there somewhere. Come on.
Right, or even just something from some 1940 like Humphrey Bogart movies or something. Maltese
Yeah.
Falcon. Let's do something like that. So, The Treasure of Sierra Madre. Oh, I might have to
Yeah.
watch some movies this weekend. But
So, but
yeah,
for the AI archive or AI chive, the Rachel, who do you think this is for? And who
I
who
have
are
no.
is it?
I
Are
think it
they
should be
just
stopped. I don't know what they're trying to show. All the fake papers that fake Rachel has fake written are about whether fake Rachel should be allowed to fake write fake papers. And
okay?
they're fooling people, and it's academic, it's academic
It's
deceit,
it's
and it's a
it's
it's fraud. I mean, they're perpetuating fraud.
so the consumers of their output are academics who shouldn't be subjected to this.
No, it's breaking. It gets back to the norms, right? So a
Yeah.
norm is that you don't make up fake research as a fake person with a fake author name, and they're doing it. What I counted 8 ways that it's fake. I mean, it's super efficient to have these AIs do it this way because you get 8
But does she
sources
have
of
any
fraud at once.
right? Yeah. Well, maybe will it'll remain to be seen if she came up with ideas that humans need.
Right, right,
Probably
right,
not.
right. But we have other people talking about some interesting things. You had interview and
Yeah, just listening. It's crazy. Every day is like too many podcasts and newspaper articles and magazine articles to read. But one that really got me going the other
mm.
day, dang, was the Hard Fork, which is the New York Times tech podcast.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I used to like these guys and now I don't. Um, but so the title of that episode was Where's All the AI Driven Scientific Progress? Sorry. Um, and so they got to the bottom of it because one of the big, commercial or marketing pushes behind AI and especially like pushing towards generative AI is it's going to cure all the cancers and,
Hmm.
make all the scientists um, obsolete with knowledge. So anyway, so I was like, oh, this is great. This is right in our wheelhouse. Like, let's find out what's going on here. And we had talked to Derek Lowe a few
Hmm.
weeks back about like understanding how AI is being used and not used in some kind of the basic science research and things like that. So I was like,
Hmm.
cool. This was um this was something else. So their guest was this guy named Sam Rodriguez.
Hmm.
He got his PhD in 2019 in physics from MIT, and then he did a stint running a bioengineering lab at Francis Crick over in London. And that shut down in 2025. And now he's an inventor and entrepreneur for all of science using AI.
Yeah.
So, um,
Common
that's
story.
like that's the big red flag, right? Is a lot of
Yep.
people is like if you want to ask a question, you call in a CEO, and that's what these guys did. And they're like,
Hmm.
"Oh, we don't know anything about science. Explain it to us. Give
You
us
have a degree in one field. Tell
yeah.
us about all of science.
Yeah. So so Sam is coming at it from the perspective of being the head of both a nonprofit and a for-profit organization. So Future House is the nonprofit um, that is, according to their website, primarily funded by Eric Schmidt,
He's
but
everywhere.
other people can give money too. So
Right.
Eric Schmidt is one of the wealthiest people in the world, made a lot of tech money, blah blah blah. Google.
Now, can I
Okay.
can I hit a pause on this on the Eric Schmidt
Uh-huh.
thing? Because
Hmm.
wasn't he also a co-author on that paper-shaped object that Emily and Alex were talking about that has big eugenics overtones to it?
Yep.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, we'll
Jeez.
put a link in the show notes.
There were a lot of people on that paper.
Yeah, paper-shaped object.
Yeah. So yes. So they started, like most of them do, started with the nonprofit, just asking questions, taking donations, figuring out good ideas, and then they spun off their platform for AI scientific discovery called Edison. And that's the commercial spin out, and it is now bringing this technology to the world. And so that's what they do. A couple points on this, everyone listen to the interview or not, but this is what the people, at the top levels are talking about. Like I said, one of the things is like, we don't understand science, so explain it to us. And there was a long discussion about the term de novo.
Oh,
Um,
that was painful. They got it so wrong. Just wrong enough. Wrong enough.
just wrong enough. But then another big thing that jumped out at me was as he was rattling off all of the ways that AI and in particular his companies and nonprofit are helping to use AI for scientists is they called liter AI powered literature search is a huge unlock, dude. We unlocked it. I
You
was
do a
like,
good tech, bro. I like it.
it's a yeah, because it was all locked up. It
Yeah.
was too hard to do, and
Yeah.
now we can unlock it super
Yeah.
fast. So
Yeah.
I don't know who their consumers are of their products. I'm scared. I don't think it's good for them.
Huge
Certainly
unlock. My God.
huge unlock. Certainly using AI in science, as we've said before, and we'll always go back to it in very specific, purposeful ways with a control, a, a an intent and an outcome that serves a purpose. Nothing wrong with it. But this,
No, they're inference engines, and inference can be a useful way to analyze some things,
hmm
right?
yeah.
So,
And then the other big one that was kind of thought-provoking was Tristan Harris. He's been everywhere
mhm.
recently, which is good because that's the work that he does. He came out of being one of the designers and architects of the first generation of social media and realized that this is not a great idea for humanity. And so he is this kind of, I call him kind of like in recovery and making amends.
Yeah, he's become an ethicist, right?
Right, he's an
That's his
ethicist
position
and
now.
yeah, and he runs the Center for Humane Technology. And many people have probably seen his Social Dilemma documentary, which is really good at kind of
Hmm.
unpacking how all that stuff works. So anyway, he had an interview with Scott Galloway around AI, and I thought it was a really good conversation and a good discussion of comparing social media um, to where AI is today. And a lot of a lot of people have been talking about. It's just like, well, it takes a little while, and but he did a good job of saying like they're different, but they are on a continuum, and this AI ingestion of content on the back of the social media that has engaged all of us to give it to them is something that is totally different and new.
Right. And it's all on the back of the attention economy, right?
Hmm.
I mean, that was his point, as I understood it in some ways, was now all these AI production houses are spitting out things that you are fantastic to look at, dragons soaring over, the coast of Baja, California, and it's fantastic to look at. And the sun gleams in the best way, and the ocean looks fantastic, and all this stuff. But it's not real, and it's
Hmm.
exploiting your time, and it's exploiting your attention. And the same thing, it's all a distraction from real work and real things. But it's all built on the attention economy, which seems
Right.
to be what Project Rachel is even about.
Exactly. It's about capturing information that people have contributed and
Hmm.
then regurgitating it as information that people want and then calling it information that people need.
Right, right, right. So I think that part of this, there was a quote recently, or at some point in the past couple of years, where somebody said these technology platforms now think that their data stores and extraction of customer insights are so robust that nobody needs to talk to the customer anymore. They just
Hmm.
analyze their data and say this is what the consumers want. But there's a huge blind spot in that, which is that most of us aren't on these platforms but a few times a day. And we're doing a whole bunch of other things that are outside. And we don't think you guys really understand us at all. I don't think a lot of these people are living normal human lives. And a lot of the science, like the guy who, is a physicist, he doesn't know how to treat a kid with a cough. And,
No, but he thinks he can take the physics and apply it to genetics, and then therefore there won't be any children who ever sneeze again.
yeah. So I think, our plea at this point is, the norms that we broke, to realize that the norms that we broke, the red lines, the constraints, the boundaries, were around really focusing on actual scientific communities trying to do actual discoveries based on actual real observations, using computer technology and distribution technologies carefully to
Hmm.
make sure that the people who can use the information get the best information possible so they can build on it, that we don't waste a lot of time with slop.
Hmm. And that was
And
one of
yeah.
Tristan's main themes is that, empowering the community of humans is coming together and saying and understanding what we're looking at and what the possible effects might be, and then deciding to draw some red lines of
Hmm.
th this is okay, but this is unacceptable. And I think that really kind of sparked some things with me about like how we want to talk to people in scientific publishing around kind of where are we going with all this.
Hmm. Right. And, Project Rachel crossed a lot of red lines in my mind,
Hmm.
fooling people, making up fake people, making up fake content.
Yeah,
And,
open evidence that crossed a scarlet bleeding red line.
blinking, flashing red line. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then there are other, ways that AI is being introduced into different products and less we talked about like in libraries,
Hmm.
um,
I would like.
in yeah, and a lot of other things. And so the more content that's coming out is means there's more content that's coming out, and then there's more that's going into the ecosystem. And so that's what we wanted to talk about is, is it time to, New Year's
Yeah.
take stock,
Yeah.
let's talk about drawing some red lines and then
Yeah,
see and if you don't want to invest in being on one side of the red line or the other, that's up to you. But let's at least kind of throw them down.
that sounds good. All right, we should probably move on to discoveries of the week, just
Hmm.
given the time. So, are you ready?
I am.
Do you want to kick us off on discoveries of the week this week?
Yes. So New Year's Eve traditions.
Hmm.
I don't know if you have any ones in
I
your
have to make
family.
dinner tonight because of it.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
spaghetti carbonara.
So years ago, we lived in Spain and
Mm.
learned about the Spanish and mostly in Spanish-speaking countries, the tradition of eating 12 grapes.
Yeah, I've heard of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you count down to midnight, the last 12 seconds, you have to eat 12 grapes. And
Is it
if
a
you don't get
choking
them,
hazard?
it is. It totally is.
Eee.
If you don't die, then you're going to live to the new year.
Oh my. Well, glad to see you made it.
If you get them all down, then you're gonna have good luck. And if you don't, then you're gonna have bad luck. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's one that um, I've known about for a long time. But I was looking at other New Year's Eve traditions from around the world, and I found a new one.
Okay.
Um, Apparently, in some parts of South America, you should wear your underwear backward tonight, Kent.
Okay.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Front is back, back is front.
Yep.
Oh, it depends on the style of underwear whether that's going to be painful or not. Because I picture Carnival and I picture some thongs and I'm picturing Borat and oh, it's just getting yeah.
Yep.
Wow, I have never heard of that one.
So eat 12 grapes and put your underwear on backwards and you'll be good.
All right, I will check both those boxes. Not. All right. So
What's yours?
mine is a little more serious, but I have a distant relative who I get to follow on LinkedIn for some reason. I forget why we connected, but when I met her a few years ago, she was doing taking large photographs of landscapes and objects and things, and then she would use acrylic paint to paint different, highlight different things and kind of make them surreal and a little bit, just beautiful. She really did a nice job with it. It was so the photos would look, you couldn't. She would blur the line between photo and painting in a really nice way, and so they'd
Mhm.
become so your eye would just like really engage with them, and it was beautiful work. And a really clever thing that I started to see other people doing and all this. And then I, lost touch with her, and then she started to reappear on LinkedIn again, and she's now a forensic artist. So what she
What is
does,
what does that mean?
yeah, well, apparently, and I want to talk to her about this, but apparently what she does is when there's a missing person and they discover a body in the woods or recover one that's been in the water for a while or whatever's going on with the missing person, she will go and reconstruct, do an illustration of what that person must have looked like in real life based on what she can determine from the age and the facial structure and what other things what I have to look at the whole thing or I'd ask her about the whole thing. But what's been remarkable is in the past couple of months she's had a couple of these resolve where people have seen her drawings and gone, oh, that is
Oh,
Uncle Dave, or that he's been missing for 12 years or whatever.
wow.
And so I'd want to talk to her about that, but it's just kind of a remarkable thing. And we've all seen those reconstructions in museums that they're doing now. Like we went to the museum in Sweden where they have the big boat.
Oh
And,
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
you've seen those. And they
Hmm.
have those 3D heads of all the people that they recovered. And they're amazing in the detail and all of that. But, you know, that's fascinating. This is cathartic for families, I think. It's probably bringing them closure.
It's
And I just,
helpful. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought
it's
that was my discovery
human.
of the week. Yeah.
Well, it takes the combination of her using data that is given
Mm-hmm.
to her that she can
Mm-hmm.
collect via
Right.
photograph and then interpreting it using her
It's the
mind
perfect blend of art and
and
science.
putting it all together to create something that is when it's right, it's a unique hit,
Right.
right? That
Mm-hmm.
is the person we were looking for, and you helped us find them. That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
so awesome.
It's the perfect blend of art and science, and I think a great way to end the year. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to our friends at Provoke the Truth for the music, and as always, let us know what you think. You can keep up with developments at the Geyser, where you can subscribe to support our efforts. And you can reach us at disruptedscience@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Happy New Year, y'all. Thanks for tuning in and keep giving us all of your feedback. We'll see you next year.